Hello and welcome to Backstage Buzz at the Mac, where you get the inside story on the art scene right from the directors and creators of the shows, along with events hosted at the Mac. I'm Diana Martinez, and we have some really exciting guests from the music and film scene. Today we'll be talking to the talented and charming pianist and professor Dr. Steve Havens. Then later, Sue Kerby, coordinator of the Study Abroad programs at the College of DuPage, will tell us about the fabulous International Global Flick series coming up. And then we'll be back with Maestro Kirk Muspratt, conductor of the new Philharmonic, who will tell you about his next exciting project. All the shows you'll hear about today are coming to the McAninch Arts Center in March. The MAC is located at the east end of the campus at the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, where parking is always free. My first guest is a professional pianist, piano teacher, and an outstanding advocate for the MAC. He has been awarded Outstanding Faculty Member and is the kindest, most genuine person you can ever hope to meet. Honestly, he's one of my favorite people at the MAC. Steve Havens, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to have you here.
Thanks.
So, Steve, you're a teacher. You're a professor.
Yes.
Tell us about your background a little.
I started playing the piano when I was 4 years old, played by ear for years and begged my parents to actually have a teacher when I was 6, and they said, well, okay. So we gave it a try, and I've stuck with it
Ever since then.
Yeah.
So you loved it from a little boy?
Loved it, loved it. All kinds of music. I played everything. I could do anything by ear, and certainly was classically trained all the way through graduate school. So.
And you have your doctorate.
I do.
Where did you get your doctorate?
University of Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Steve, how does that affect, because I know you've also were a professional musician as well. So where did you decide teaching, professional musician? How did you make that?
I think everyone who studies music realizes at a certain point that they want to perform as much as they can, but you also find that there's so many different things you can do in music. So teaching was a natural outgrowth of, I think, being the product of some fine teachers myself. When I think I was a sophomore in college, when I don't know, I was taken back by a teacher one day, and I thought, wow, if I could do this really well, I'd like to do it. I'd like to be a teacher. I'd like to be a professional performing musician and see what all the different kinds of things I could do. Maybe even an entertaining kind of musician, which I've done a lot of. I've been in dance bands, done lots of gig work. So I kind of do it all. And I think that people who do a lot in music are the ones who are out there and finding success.
So I read something that you said once about your teaching and that you want to turn the light on, and that you meet the student halfway. Talk about that.
Students come to me, I think, with a lot of assumptions about how it all works, and certainly I want to capitalize on what their thinking is and what their skills are, what their high points, what their particular talents are. But I think it's my job to also kind of even the whole playing field and let them be grow in strength in all the different facets of understanding, thinking, practical skills of a performer, as well as how they really kind of work toward interpretation, something that makes the music their own.
I agree, right? So you also work on the musicianship of it, not just the technique.
Absolutely.
I think that's why you're booked. You can't get a class with you.
I'm pretty full these days, yeah.
Most popular guy.
Well, I hope so.
You were most outstanding faculty.
That was great, and that was a wonderful, wonderful award. It starts with the students. They write essays, and it's completely unbeknownst to me that they had initiated this. Yeah, it was great. It was very sweet.
But you're very positive.
I hope so.
I mean, I see, I don't take a lesson from you, but I just see it in how you are. So I imagine you're like that with your kids.
I certainly hope so. I'm thankful every day. There's lots to be thankful for, and so I get to do the thing I love and the thing that I think I'm gifted in, and so it's kind of great.
So tell us, there is a faculty music recital coming to the MAC, March 9th. What can an audience member hope to see at a show like that?
Wow, you'll see everything. We've got singers, we've got pianists, we've got instrumentalists, jazz musicians, everything. So every semester we try to do a faculty kind of a recital, and that could be anything. I'm tempted to call it a variety show, except it's a little more serious than that.
A little more sophisticated.
I would think, yeah. I can tell you what I'm doing this time. Jennifer Fitch and I, soprano, dramatic soprano, and I have done a lot of work together, and we're doing a Fauré set, songs of Fauré, which are French poetry set to music, where the interpretation is so fun to work at, because we both start with the language and work through the French and try to come up with an idea of what's really being said here. A sophisticated language that it is, what we're looking for is symbolism and kind of meanings beyond just the words themselves. So it's really fun to work at, and she's just a great colleague. We like each other a lot. So
she teaches here?
Yes, she does. She does.
So about how many different musicians do you get to see?
I'd say between 6 to maybe 10. And again, it can range from jazz to Baroque ensembles to classical, Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, all the way through the Romantics and 20th century idioms.
And you'll see singers, you'll see pianists, you'll see a guitar player, you'll see, and all of these people are faculty.
Not all. Sometimes we'll bring in our other associates because all
Okay.
of us do performing on the outside as well. So we'll bring in, maybe we're doing a project. I did a project with a flutist a few years ago, and we did some things in a faculty kind of recital.
So these faculty recitals, what I don't think a lot of people know is, although they're faculty, they're teachers, they're also professional musicians on the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Composers, musicians, writers, all kinds of things.
I think
yes?
what makes us viable in terms of being faculty members is that we're out there doing the very thing that we're teaching.
Right.
You know, so it's a lot of fun. So we always have projects, all of us, and we all get along so well, and we give each other's names and referrals back and forth.
I think it also keeps you relevant.
Absolutely.
Right? Because then you can teach the kids the music business part of
Sure.
of performance.
It's true. It's very true.
You know, I know from my background in directing that sometimes some of the most talented people that I knew and would see and work with weren't always the most successful because they didn't get the business and the perseverance and that you have to keep knocking on doors.
So true.
You know, it's a numbers game.
It's so true, and you have to pay attention to everything.
Right.
Be punctual. Be very good with contracts. Ask the questions. It doesn't hurt to have some friends that are attorneys help you with contracts. It really is a matter of knowing your social media, knowing your craft, and really being an advocate for what you do.
Well, you know, there's so many people who would say, you know, what can I do? You have to keep doing it. You have to keep trying, and you have to keep advocating. And I'd always say to them, do you think Madonna is the best singer in the world? Do you think she deserves all those Grammys? She's not necessarily the best singer, but she is one of the best businesswomen. And I'm like, you've got to do that end. And some people are, I don't want to promote myself. Then you better get a great manager.
It's true. It's
You
true.
know?
In fact, I'm seeing in various schools a new degree program with music entrepreneurship.
It's
coming up.
important.
It's important. You've got to really be skilled in all these facets.
And understand it.
Yep.
Unless you want to play in your bedroom.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's true.
Why do you think it's important for the faculty to perform in front of the students and in the community?
It's a surprise to me, but so often our students don't go downtown to see live performance. And I know that's a shock, but very often it makes us more viable in their eyes. And I think they're kind of delighted to see their teachers and people
Sure.
they know up there performing, teaching the very things, practicing what we preach, shall we say. But it cannot be taken for granted that these students are hearing live music on a regular and consistent basis. And that's kind of a bit of a shortcoming for music students. So
And more
we do this.
classical music too,
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. So.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming today
Thank you.
and talking to us about this, and best of luck in the show.
Thank you.
Tickets to the COD Music Faculty Recital on Thursday, March 9th at 7:30 p.m. can be purchased at the McAninch Center box office or at themac.org or by calling 630-942-4000. Currently running is Buffalo Theater Ensemble's Good People. It's a poignant and powerful show about the struggle of a single mother who is one bingo game away from paying the rent. The show runs Thursday through Sunday until March 5th. Coming to the MAC on April 8th and 9th is the new Philharmonic Orchestra's last classical concert of the season, Encore, starring CSO violinist David Taylor. Here to tell you about this amazing concert is none other than the maestro himself, Kirk Muspratt. Welcome back, Kirk.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you. So let's talk about David Taylor.
Cool.
He's my favorite guy.
I know, you love him.
I love him.
You love it. Yeah, and as assistant concertmaster, I told you on an email, he's been writing to me from Europe, because the CSO's on this magnificent tour of Europe, playing all the best halls. And he wrote to me and said, you know, he's really looking forward to doing the Lalo. He loves the piece, and it is a very unusual and very difficult piece. So.
Now, the Lalo Concerto, tell us about that.
Okay, so it's written in 1875. Lalo is French, but his father was in the military, and they lived in Spain for a while. So at that time in Paris, everybody's fascinated with Spanish culture. Carmen is going to premiere about a month later. And so Lalo meets the greatest violinist of the day, Pablo Sarasate, who is Spanish. And when he meets him, they decide upon this piece that they're going to do together. So it has all this Spanish flavor. There's seguidillas in it. Oh, it's really exotic and beautiful. It's very unusual because it's a French violin concerto, but it's really Spanish. So it's very exotic.
I bet it's very sexy.
It is
and
sexy.
Sultry.
Yeah, it is. The second movement, the seguidilla, is like really amazing and beautiful on the violin. Sarasate was an amazing violinist, so it's tough. You know, he's sitting there with Lalo going, okay, I can do this. And so every violinist since then has had to do, oh, I can do this. You know, it's very tough.
So is this the piece in the show that you're also featuring a new instrument?
No.
That's a different piece.
Yeah, that's the second half of the concert.
Okay, so tell us about that.
That's your instrument.
My new instrument.
Yeah, your instrument.
The Mac's new instrument.
So the Mac and the College of DuPage have had the vision to always be upgrading things, you know, which is wonderful, keep things ahead of the curve. So we have a brand new organ. So once I heard we had this brand new gorgeous organ, which I just talked to Bill Burr about, he said it's a magnificent instrument. So we're going to do the Organ Symphony of Saint-Saens. Now, it's not really an organ symphony. The organ only plays in the last movement and only for a while. But when it plays, it actually takes over the whole orchestra, and it's a big orchestra. So it's going to be like whomping exciting. I could just tell you.
So, Kirk, who plays the organ in your orchestra?
One of our pianists will play.
Oh, they play?
Yeah, it's not a really hard organ part at all. It's just
Okay.
a big rah, rah,
With the feet and the...
Yeah, the feet, the pedals, the whole thing.
whole
And
nine
Bill
yards.
he said, this organ will have no problem taking over the orchestra. So the orchestra plays and the organ plays. And it's really very exciting. It's a lovely piece. It's
Well,
really lovely.
I'm glad that you're going to feature it
Yeah,
in the
with
show.
this
I
new
think that's
instrument.
exciting.
Yeah, and with the acoustics of the hall now,
I
it's
know.
going to wipe people out. Yeah, in a good way.
And you have another surprise in that you have 2 featured children, which I
Yeah.
love that you do this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a competition, as you all know, at intermission feature at least one young person from our area. And these 2 young ladies, one's going to play on Saturday, one on Sunday. Both of them can really go into music, no problem. And they're so fine, such fine high school students, that we're going to actually have them play in the orchestra for the last movement of the Saint-Saens Symphony. And they'll be absolutely, I mean, these young people are
Exceptional.
Exceptional and taught by the best teachers in the city, and I mean, I'm amazed by them. I'm amazed by them. So we'll feature them, yes.
What a thrill for a student and an inspiration to be asked to play with a professional orchestra.
Even if you're in college, it's pretty
That's
tough.
true.
But to sit there with one of our players and just have like 1 or 2 rehearsals and play part of a symphony, yeah, and that's what we should be doing.
Well, and you know, I think at the MAC, one of the things I feel strongly about, I know you feel strongly about, is outreach.
Oh, yes.
And if we don't make a concerted effort to develop tomorrow's artists, nobody else will.
Right.
And I think we have to support these kids, and I think we have to give them opportunities. And you know, we have the treat seats for kids.
Yeah.
And we get notes and thank you notes from these children who, the tickets go to underprivileged kids, for those of you who don't know. Some of them have never seen a live show in their life.
Right.
And it's life-changing to some of them.
But
And
people donate to that, correct?
yes, they do.
People specifically
People donate and
to
support that.
Right.
And so they basically sponsor a child from an orphanage, from Metropolitan Family Services, bridge communities. And it's, I think, so important. But I think the work that you're doing to give them exposure is huge. You know, and we try to do some shows where we'll invite a touring artist to do a master class. And I think anytime a young person can work with a professional, what an opportunity.
Yes.
You know?
And it's incumbent upon us to, as you realize in our community, people are so busy. I say to Paul all the time, this is not the world of 2002 or 1998 or 1988. This is the world of 2020. And people and young people are so busy that you'd think, oh, well, just ask a school and they'll just come. No.
It's not that easy.
Kids are so busy and they have so many interesting goals and they're so multifaceted. You know, when you think of even a young woman like my mom in 1940, she could be a teacher or a nurse.
Right.
Now, what is the girl at Glenbard West doing? She's taking AP for this. She's going to be a double major at blah, blah, blah.
And she's playing volleyball.
Right, and she's playing volleyball, which is totally cool
Right,
also.
on top of
But
it.
unless we sort of go, hello, come to us and we can help you maybe, then, you know, it's much more difficult. It takes more energy and more foresight.
What else are you excited about with this concert?
Oh,
Is there any other highlights that you want people to know
yes,
about?
actually, the concert, Diana, the first concert is on Saturday night, April the 8th, which is my birthday.
Awesome!
Okay? Yes, and the next
I
day,
better bake a cake.
The concert is the next day. It's on Sunday, the 9th at 3 p.m., which is the day after my
your birthday. I knew it.
So I'm excited about that. Well, I'm excited to have David back. And I don't know, you know, Paula and I were talking about Saint-Saens in the green room. And Saint-Saens was one of the greatest geniuses who ever lived. I've given talks about him and said that he's greater a genius than Mozart because he was actually writing music when he was 3. Mozart was 5. Mozart spoke 4 or 5 languages. Saint-Saens spoke 8 languages fluently. He played every instrument. He was the greatest organist of the century. He played violin beautifully. He played cello beautifully. He spoke Portuguese fluently. You know, he was one of these guys. He was the first guy to write any piece of film music.
A real Renaissance man.
He was unbelievable.
I love that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that, but maybe more about my birthday. I'm not sure, you know.
Kirk, what do you want for your birthday?
Do
If
you
could
want to
have
know?
anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I will. Now, we didn't plan this. I'm just telling you. Can I have more money for the orchestra, please?
We'll work on that.
Any artist is going to say, can I please have more money
Can I
for
have
my
a raise?
musicians and my guest artists and my opera, please? So
Well, you know,
you said anything, so.
You know, we can talk about something that the audience might not know, that you can sponsor a musician in the orchestra. And that's really just started this year, last
Right.
year. And it's starting to take off. And it's really helping to make a difference that we can do bigger work, more work, you know, gives you a little more time to rehearse maybe. All those little things. Every dollar helps.
Oh, yeah. We just
Every
had
dollar.
somebody just sponsor the first clarinet chair.
That's exciting.
After the New Year's Eve concert. And, of course, we know one of our greatest donors, sponsors 3 cello chairs.
So,
Yeah.
if you want Kirk to have a good birthday, make a donation to the new Philharmonic Orchestra or sponsor a chair, right?
Yes.
Best wishes for a wonderful birthday and a great year for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Well, the final concert of the new Philharmonic Orchestra's 40th season will be at the MAC on Saturday, April 8th, the day of Kirk's birthday at 7:30 p.m., and Sunday, April 9th, the day after his birthday at 3 p.m. Tickets can be purchased at the McAninch Arts Center box office or online at themac.org, or please call 630-942-4000. The MAC has a wonderful lineup to close out the 2017 Touring Artist Performance Series with amazing national artists and international artists. On Saturday, March 4th, illusionist and comedian Mike Super is back with an all-new show. You may remember him from America's Got Talent. He puts on one of the most mind-blowing performances. This is an entertaining show that's even cool enough for your teenagers.
In the merry month of June, from me home I started after girls.
The High Kings. Friday, March 10th at 8 p.m., Ireland's Folk Band of the Year joins us at the MAC with an incredible high-energy performance, showcasing their versatility and skills as these multi-instrumentalists bring acoustic flavor to brand new songs and some old favorites as well. Saturday, March 11th at 7:30 p.m., you can experience a blend of classical and hip-hop in Black Violin. Also at the MAC, the unforgettable dance band, the world-famous Glenn Miller Orchestra, will be here on Sunday, March 19th at 2 p.m. with their unique swinging sound. And backed by popular demand,
I can tell you why.
on Sunday, April 1st at 2 and 8 p.m., we will be reunited with Capital Steps, a political satire comedy group who has been putting politics and scandal to music for more than 30 years. Each year, the MAC features an amazing global flick series that runs through February and into March. The movie screens on Wednesdays at 1:30 and 7:30. It's a free series of international films, and each of the movies are notable award-winning films. Here to tell us all about this amazing series is Sue Kerby, coordinator of study abroad programs at the College of DuPage. Hi, Sue.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I'm very excited about this series, and I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, it's a great series. This is our 21st year doing Global Flicks for students and community members at College of DuPage.
21 years. It's amazing. So what's unique about this series is you don't just get to see the movie, but there's a talk after the movie, which I find to be the most interesting part about the whole thing.
Right, we choose our movies based on input from faculty and staff at COD, and then we reach out to those same people and ask them to help lead discussions about the topics of the film or the region of the world that the film represents after the film.
And one thing we've really focused on in the last few years was choosing movies that have an appeal to the general population, award-winning, really notable films. And I think this year's is just for the 50th anniversary of the college is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, we love choosing a variety of genre and languages because all the films are shown in their original language with English subtitles, and the themes are all very different. So.
You know, I think the talk back, let's talk about that for a minute. Each teacher, after you see the movie, will host a talk back. And I think the lecture is what brings people together and really opens up a dialogue and thoughts about the movie, which I think is unique, that you really don't get in any other international film series.
That's correct. Our faculty have interesting input, but also they draw from the audience as well, and the audience sometimes has traveled to the regions of the world that they're watching the movie about, so they have experiences that are personal that they can put into the discussion as well.
So the first movie I'm very excited about, 5 Star Life.
Yes.
And that's about a woman who reviews 5-star hotels all over Europe.
Right. It's an Italian film, and that's her job, to review 5-star hotels. And so you get a bit of a window into the world of that high-end tourism and travel.
Now, what else is nice about these is there's a couple of movies that the faculty is doing an international dinner with, right? A lunch, so that you can go to a luncheon before the show and then see the movie and then have your talk.
That's correct. And if you're interested in that, you can sign up through our continuing ed offices at COD.
And the 2 movies with the dinner are 5-Star Life and
Peepli Live.
Peepli Live, and that's later in the season.
Correct.
What other highlights are you excited about?
I think we have a really interesting film this year based on a true story of our second film, and it's called 24 Days, and it's based on a true story about a young man who was kidnapped in France. I love drama and I love real life action, and this is his story about being held ransom, and it has undertones of anti-Semitism and racism in it. We like to touch on really deep issues as well, so our students who see these films can learn about what's going on in the world.
I saw that movie, and you were on the edge of your seat. That's what I loved about it. I mean, it was just, it felt like an action, twist, suspense, turn. It was so well done.
And it's amazing to know it is based on a real story.
I know, and upsetting, right? What's another one of your favorites?
We have 2 documentaries this year. On March 8th, we will be showing a film called La Camioneta. It's the journey of an American school bus. And what people may not know is when school buses in the U.S., the big yellow buses, are retired, they're repurposed in many different ways. And many of those buses are repurposed into general public transportation buses in Central and South America. So this is a story about those buses being taken to Guatemala, and they are actually the transportation for the migrant farm workers in Guatemala. So the story is about the bus and the journey the bus makes, but also about the people then using the buses in Guatemala.
If the bus could talk.
Exactly.
Another one that's pretty powerful, I think, is Mustang, and that's a Turkish film.
Yes. This Turkish film discusses the lives of 5 sisters who live in a very traditional Muslim family in Turkey. And they are accused by their village of being too promiscuous, and so they are forced to stay home and learn the traditional values of their family in isolation from the rest of the community. So it's an issue of feminism, of traditional religious backgrounds, and a community that has influence over the lives of their children.
I think it's so important too for young people to see these movies and understand the different customs involved, the different religions involved. And I think, you know, we get caught up in how we live our life here. And I think the more we can understand each other, the more that we can see what the other person's, you know, dealing with, it really does bring people together and create understanding. And travel, I think in general.
Yeah, and if you can't travel, you can get exposed to other places in the world by watching films.
Exactly. This movie really has a lot of social issues with
Very
it.
relevant today.
Very relevant today. Let's talk about The Forgotten Kingdom.
This is a South African film. It's a drama about a family, in particular a young man whose father passes away and wants to be buried in his homeland in Lesotho. So you actually see some South Africa and then also the rural areas of Lesotho in this film.
Oh, nice. And Peepli Live, that's the other one that has a lunch with it. That's a movie from India.
And it's a comedy. We don't like everything to be very heavy when we do movies. So Peepli Live is a comedy that I think will surprise people in the topic that it covers, because it covers suicide, but in a comedic sort of way, because the village is trying to help a man decide what his outcome in life should be. I don't want to give you too much information, but it's a comedy, so it should be interesting.
It'll be nice.
Yeah.
So we have a suspense, we have a comedy, we have a drama,
We have
a documentary, and then we end with A Girl in the River, which is a documentary.
It is. It was
and
actually
powerful.
a very powerful short documentary winner from the Oscars, and it's about honor killings in Pakistan. And we learn about the life of a girl who survived an honor killing. And honor killings happen because of possibly arranged marriages gone wrong. And this is a documentary about life for young women in Pakistan and some of the areas that continue to have very traditional ways of raising their young women.
So for people who want to go, they're at the MAC. They're on Wednesdays at 1:30 and 7:30. They're free. You can check out the website for more information. I want to talk to you, though, because you're in global studies, and I don't think a lot of people know what a magnificent global studies program and study abroad program that the College of DuPage offers. It's the largest in the state, correct?
We do. Actually, we are one of the top community colleges in the nation that sends our students abroad. And we just feel it's so important that students see the world, and we do everything we can to make those opportunities available, taking into consideration that they're students and that they have academic goals that they have to achieve as well.
So where are some of our students going?
This summer we have students going on some great language immersion programs to Japan, Germany, France, Spain, and Costa Rica. So it's a language immersion where the students take a full semester of language in 1 month in country.
Now, do you offer programs for continuing ed for an adult? Let's say I want to go.
Well, we don't go through continuing ed at COD. All of our classes are academic for credit, but yes, we have lots of community members that travel with us as well, because those community members want to see the world but also learn things.
Sure.
And taking a class academically, you're taking that component as well.
So any one of us could go with you?
Anyone can go.
We're going, Sue.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate it. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have today, but you can enjoy even more on future episodes covering the latest on the art scene every month. For more information on any of the shows you saw today or future shows, call the MAC box office at 630-942-4000 or visit atthemac.org. On behalf of the McAninch Arts Center and College of DuPage, I'm Diana Martinez, and thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the theater and next time on Backstage Buzz at the MAC.